This is a presentation about social justice. What is social justice? Social justice, by definition, is justice in terms of the distribution of wealth, opportunities, and privileges within a society. In this nation, however, the term social justice has come to mean a lot more. Despite the fact that America is supposed to be the exemplar for equality, minorities have been fighting for equal rights here since the very beginning. People are discriminated against on a daily basis because of their race, gender, religion, or political stance. This is completely unfair. As a result of the inequality, many counter-racism and counter-discrimination groups and organizations have been formed to bring justice to those who cannot fight for themselves. Three groups that combat discrimination are the NAACP, the Christian Legal Society, and the American Arab Anti-Discrimination Committee. One way that people in America and all over the world expose social injustices is through poetry. It can be traditional poetry or spoken word. Poetry expresses your thoughts and beliefs in an organized way. It uses rhymes and patterns to draw the attention of the reader. It has been used to reveal social injustice for many years by some of the best poets in American history. Spoken word is a type of poetry that uses music or beats to move the listener. This has become very popular in our culture today. One exemplary example of a poet who is not afraid to expose social injustice is Langston Hughes. Langston Hughes wrote I Too in 1925. It unveils the social injustice of early 1900s by giving an example of a black servant or house slave. It shows how black people were not treated as equals by pointing out the fact that blacks were made to eat in separate rooms than whites. The narrator in this poem, however, expresses the hope that he will one day get to eat at the table with the white guests because he is equal to them. Another amazing poet who wasn't afraid to speak her mind when it came to civil rights and social injustice is Maya Angelou. She wrote America in the late 20th century. This piece of poetry revealed the sad truths within America's justice system, both in the past and the present. It makes reference to the hunger epidemic, slavery, and lies that are being told to our youth about America being perfect. Another example of a brave new voice in America is Clayton Jennings. Clayton Jennings is one of my favorite spoken word artists. He uses spoken word to expose injustices in America as well as to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ to people all over the world. His honesty and openness in his poetry allows his fans to relate to him and understand the idea that he is trying to convey. Social injustice expressed through songs and music. Music is a very effective way to get a message across to a group of people in today's society. Everywhere you look, someone is wearing headphones or listening to the radio. The average person listens to music at least 5 hours a day. Bleed the Same is a hit song by Mandisa featuring Toby Mac and Kirk Franklin. It reminds us that we all bleed the same, meaning that no race, social status, or gender is better than another in the eyes of God. This song reminds us that we need God's love to combat darkness and hate. It promotes unity among people everywhere. Reading about social injustice. Literature is a fantastic way to learn about social injustices. Through books, we can put ourselves directly into the lives of the person we are reading about. Reading about injustice can really be an eye-opener for people that did not know such things were happening. Here are some examples of social injustice being portrayed in literature. How Does It Feel to Be a Problem by Mustafa Bayoumi is a powerful collection of stories being told by young Arab Americans in the United States. They share their personal experiences of social injustice throughout the book. Another touching story is Black Boy, which is a memoir by Richard Wright. In this book, he tells of the hardships and injustices that he faced as a black boy growing up in the 1920s in America's segregated South. Last but not least, another way to express social injustice is through films. Americans love watching movies, obviously, so film is an excellent way to reveal social injustices from the past and those that are occurring in current times. When movie producers and actors work together, they create powerful films that expose injustice and highlight those who are working to end them. Movies are arguably the most effective way to get the message about social injustice out to the nation. The average person spends almost 35 hours per week watching TV. Here are some examples of social injustice being portrayed in movies. Hidden Figures is a movie about three black women, Katherine Johnson, Dorothy Vaughan, and Mary Jackson, who were the most important part of the group of people who put the first man into space. Their story has been hidden for years, and now they have finally gotten the credit they deserve. Many people did not know that three black women were responsible for putting the first American man into space. This movie allowed people who did not know that this happened to... John Q is a very emotional movie that tells the touching story of John Q and his son. The purpose of the film was to raise many issues surrounding poor healthcare in the United States. In the movie, John Q's son needed a life-saving operation, but his insurance would not cover it, and the hospital refused to help. The overall goal of the movie is to communicate the importance of healthcare reform and the problems surrounding the current healthcare system, which is catered toward the wealthier class of people. In conclusion, social injustice comes in many forms, but it can also be exposed in many forms. These different forms have impacts on different types of people and people of different ages. Literature, film, music, social media, talk radio, and many other platforms have been used to reveal social injustices, but it is up to us to do something about them. Let's erase inequality together. In the words of Jacques Fresco, we must stop constantly fighting for human rights and equal justice in an unjust system and start building a society where equal rights are an integral part of the design. The end.